Hi, thanks for tuning in to my official YouTube channel. I'm Reverend MeeLing, Reverend Susan MeeLing, Lady Dori, Belle. I've been known by a few names. So I'm in New Mexico still. Though when I did the last particular official YouTube channel video, I had just gotten into New Mexico, so from Colorado. So I'm making my way through. I got a few miles until I'm in Texas, and then once I'm in Texas, well then, you know, Texas is a big state. So I have a few miles to travel to get my Medal of Honor art project piece where it needs to go. And so whatchamacallit, I just finished speaking with the Gospel Gunslingers. He calls himself just another Brandon. He's not just another Brandon, but personal opinion on his just another channel, though my opinion, not just another channel. And then Pastor Sam from the Gospel Gunslingers, the live call-in thing in that regard. And so asked a few questions in reference to a couple of things. And so one of the things that we had discussed briefly and Pastor Sam had elaborated on, which, okay, so I don't understand why so many people have problems with the Hebrews or the Jews or however they label themselves, because I have never hidden the fact that if it wasn't for finding the Jewish medical journal, I wouldn't have researched more as far as scuba diving to assist my headaches and migraines. I've never denied that. I actually, and thinking back, I actually did deal with a couple of people that made fun of me for the fact that I acknowledged that, and it was just one of those, I don't really care, like, I don't see what the big deal is. And I don't mean I don't care as far as the Hebrews are concerned, more along the lines of I don't care about your opinion as far as why you think that I should pay attention to your thoughts as far as the Hebrews or the Jews are concerned, because again, if it wasn't, they were the ones who had done the original medical journal that I had found as far as scuba diving. And now, so today is the 14th of June 2020. Back in 2013, I wound up finding in Washington State, despite how I wound up there, that there are scuba diving programs for military guys, you know, after their time in the whichever branch of the United States of America's armed forces. And so, I mean, if at that time, you know, when I spoke about it with people, because I spoke about it with not just civilians, of course, but even former military guys, and after, or even current military for certain ones. And, you know, realistically, in 2009, when I had actually gone forward with my scuba diving training, my initial open water National Geographic scuba diving certification, you know, I don't think it was even a full year from the time of the last time I spoke with some of the soldiers over at Fort Sam Houston because of what was going on. And so I had a feeling that there would be certain regards of some sort of watching, just to be like, well, what are you doing, sort of thing. But not in a bad way, just in one of those, like, making sure. And so if I'm not correct, then okay, but I think I'm fairly accurate that I probably was. And you know, I did speak with some individuals in reference to the benefits that I had found. And so if not only in Washington State, but around the United States of America, they found that medical journal and found more research that assisted guys not just with headaches and migraines, but also, you know, some of the stuff as far as, you know, their active duty service, and they were able to find that benefit. That's great, you know. So I had gotten my certification after researching the medical journal from the Jewish Medical Journal, found a few more articles before I started researching a little bit more as far as the aspects of scuba diving, to then actually find the scuba diving school I would go through. And so if that was noticed and paid attention to, and there were guys, that had military, law enforcement, whichever connection for the United States of America's armed forces, and they saw like the actual benefit for those guys, that's great. And so I've never denied the fact that if it wasn't for that I wouldn't have necessarily gone into it because of my own nervousness in regards to, because of my head injury. And realistically, at the time, they had not done the research in regards to certain aspects that they did later. But also, the first group aspect after I had my daughter, so I had my son and my daughter. When I was pregnant with my son, I went through the Army for certain parenting classes, so that way I made sure that I could do it right as best as possible, right? And not necessarily every single thing was discussed, but enough to be able to try to piece things together. And then after I had my daughter, I went to the Jewish Community Center, and I never denied that either. So I guess it's a personal thing, because I don't understand what the problem would be. I mean, yes, I do have the Hebrew or Jewish in my blood, both my maternal and paternal side of, and not just paternal as far as like my biological father, but like both of his parents have Hebrew or Jewish. And then even my great-grandfather and great-grandmother for my biological father, both of them as well. And then my biological mother through her mom, or my maternal grandmother, also that. And so I didn't personally know that there were issues. I mean, I knew that there was the stuff as far as World War II, which not happy about that at all. Not happy about that. There was a time when I think I was still in Asher Holmes Elementary School. And we had to read a couple of books by, what was his name? It was the guy who wrote Night. Elijah or Eli Wiesel. And I read, I actually cried reading that. Like I was in I think I was in 5th, 6th, or 7th grade when I had to read that as part of a school assignment. And first off, we were supposed to read like one chapter a week. I couldn't put it down, and I cried reading that. I felt so horrible as a child reading that was what occurred. I mean, irony of my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, aside from the headaches and migraines, but more specific on the memory deficit and cognitive disorder issues, and having gone from college algebra with trigonometry and calculus to second grade math, those three latter aspects, I still remember where I was sitting on my bed in New Jersey, in my room, or well, I was still sharing the room with my biological sister, but that being said, I had turned to, so I had this really big teddy bear that would sit on my bed, and after reading his description of when he was ripped away from his mom, I couldn't help but cry. I cried. I dealt with that because my biological parents heard me downstairs from upstairs crying, and they did not understand what I was so upset about. I still remember that. to this day, and that's ironic because of that head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000. But yeah, I gotta turn off the AC because now I got chills. But yeah, that I could not deal with that. I mean, I did, but I had issues with it. And then the next time that my biological parents took my biological sister and I to, I think it was Marlboro Public Library, Marlboro Township Library, I went to find what other books he had written by that point, and I just went through it while they did whatever they did, and just so I haven't been able to actually understand that as far as the Hebrew or the Jew hating thing. I've not been able to understand or comprehend any of that at all. That just I just don't understand it. It's a personal thing. I can't be the only one either, though. So there is that. But yeah, I have not been able to. That is something I have not been able to understand at all whatsoever. Just so. And then there are still Holocaust survivors. I mean, it is 2020. There are still some of those guys who are alive. And, you know, I just don't understand the issues in that regard, why so many people have had problems in that regard. And realistically, as far as the points that were brought up by Pastor Sam, yeah, I get like the Catholic Church has had certain things in certain regards, but the Old Testament is the Torah. Realistically, and not just the Torah, there's certain parts that are from the Quran. As far as like, I mean, that's something I don't understand either. But yeah, I have never hesitated to give credit where credit was due. So, you know, as far as like, especially after my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, but also before my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, I've given credit where credit is due. And as far as like the Hebrews or the Jews or however the naming aspect is, like I've never been able to not give them credit. And not just them, I mean, even like I didn't learn how to walk in heels correctly, specifically stiletto heels, if it wasn't for, you know, a transitioning individual. I had no idea how to walk in heels. I knew how to try to ish. It took me like I trained myself. You know, I would clean and try to like walk, but that was how I got used to wearing heels. Actually learning how to walk, if it wasn't for that, I would look like I walk when I walk in sneakers or boots. Yep. So I've always given credit as best as I can. So yeah, I still don't understand that, but I just wanted to make that particular point in reference to that, because that just, and that similarly goes to my Medal of Honor art project stuff. I mean, constitutional rights. You know, I don't know if there were actually any. I mean, there might have been a couple Medal of Honor recipients from the Revolutionary War, but a lot of them were, I think there were like a handful that I found. But yeah, again, if it wasn't for the United States of America's armed forces and law enforcement, you know, but specifically the armed forces, the Constitutional Bill of Rights, I wouldn't be able to look like I do, especially as a female. I mean, realistically, my haircut, my hair color, my tattoos, the way I speak, what I talk about, I would not be able to. Not in a bunch of different places. So, you know, I've had to give credit where credit is due. Not that I've felt forced to. Let me clarify that. It's a personal choice. It's morally and ethically correct to me, in my opinion. So, you know, that's what I had to say about that. As far as that particular additional point set. So, yeah, I've got that one last piece right there to take where I gotta take it to. Take that Medal of Honor art project piece. And that is Michael McLaughlin, which is the artwork is up, and he had wanted Tacoma, Washington, to never forget the constitutional rights and the Declaration of Independence for the United States of America. That was one of his fears, was that there would be a time where people in the United States of America would no longer understand where their rights came from. And, I mean, today being the 14th of June, 2020, irony of ironies on that. And, you know, not only that, you know, I think that the state of Texas is one of just a few states that actually teaches the history of the state of Texas. Like, I know my son and my daughter, when they were in school, they discussed how they had Texas history classes. I don't remember having that in New Jersey. I remember just having to ask and then go research it. So, I don't know how many states are like that for the 50 different ones in the United States of America. But I know New Jersey didn't do that. At least I don't think it did. It may have, and I just don't remember. So, that is what I had to say. So, you guys have a good one. Comment, like, and share my official YouTube video. Subscribe to my channel.